Let's start off strong with the swan song to power, the 1990 Ford Mustang GT. This car is just insane in my mind. It's about as close as you can get to the SVT without breaking the bank, and it's just so whippable. A large, powerful 5.0 stuck in this tiny Pinto-inspired rear-wheel drive car. The 1990 Mustang GT used a 5.0-liter V8, making about 225 horsepower with fuel injection. Built on the lightweight Fox platform, it emphasized simplicity and performance. Its durability and massive aftermarket made it an icon. I've seen these things resurface recently in drift circuits and drag racing, but I'm sure they were even more popular back in the day. They sold over 200,000 units in 1988 alone, and every small town in America had their collection of Fox bodies, from your 16-year-old doing burnouts to your 50-year-old accountant. The 5.0 is also one of the most reliable V8s ever made, so that adds even more to the prestige of this car. This is the last third gen they made before making an arguably just as good Mustang, the SN95. This little thing is guaranteed to commute you to work and have fun on the weekends with its lightweight, boxy, and scrappy design. Gives you the aesthetic of a grassroots, from the earth, Midwestern racer. It also helps that these are some of the most infamous project cars, up with the E36 and MX-5s. Keeping with the style of 80s muscle, it's the third and fourth gen Z28 Camaros. These things were forgotten in the 2000s to 2010s and left to rot, but now they're back and better than ever. Back in the day, you could barely find parts for these things, but now that it had its resurgence, similar to the Foxbody, auto part dealers are starting to invest in this newer market of 80s muscle. The third generation Camaro Z28 debuted in 1982 on GM's F-Body platform, featuring a lighter chassis and more modern handling compared to previous Camaros. The fourth generation followed in 1993, introducing sleeker styling and the powerful LT1 V8 shared with the Corvette. Production ended in 2002, closing out one of the longest-running eras of Camaro history. People own these to stand out, but not just to be different. I believe these were genuinely good versions of the Camaro, even though a lot of people think this is the Camaro's worst. These were made with a custom platform only shared with the Firebird, setting it apart from the Fox bodies of its day, and its handling was far better than the Mustang's distribution. This entry also kinda goes for the Firebird, but I hear those are a lot harder to come by and sort parts these days. Okay, I swear the last American car for this list for a bit, but I have to add this. The Squarebody Chevy. This was the best pickup truck ever made. You have the Great Pyramid of Giza, the moon landing, and then the Squarebody Chevy as feats of engineering. These trucks are the definition of simplicity. Parts are stupid cheap, everything is easy to find, and almost every component can be cross-referenced with dozens of other vehicles. Most of these trucks came with the small block Chevy, one of the most popular engines ever made. Every parts store has rebuild parts, intakes, carburetors, distributors, and everything else you need to keep one running. You can buy fenders online, wire one up with parts from a hardware store, and fix almost anything yourself. If it breaks, it is probably one of the easiest trucks on earth to repair. Even if it came with a terrible engine, you can just swap in a small block Chevy and keep going. The Squarebody is simple, reliable, cheap, and that is exactly why it became an American icon. Now we can finally go over to the land of the rising sun. I present the Subaru Legacy GT-B and Forester XT. This is the Santa Claus sleigh of cars. It will absolutely rip through any dirt road you give it, all while giving you the space you need to carry your presents. If Paul Hogan and Colin McRae are whipping it, you have to whip it. It's seriously one of my favorite station wagons ever made, other than one later on the list, so remember that. The Subaru Legacy GT-B was introduced in 1996 as a high-performance version of the second-generation Legacy wagon. It featured the twin-turbocharged EJ20 flat-4 engine, producing around 250 horsepower, paired with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system. They also come with indestructible 5 speeds, so no need to worry. Subaru is really up there as one of the underappreciated JDM brands. Almost everything they pumped out back in the past was good and had interchangeable parts, so finding stuff for the Legacy will be easy. They are pretty gas efficient, so you'll be traveling the world in this one. Next up is the car that single-handedly inspired me to make this video. A machine so far ahead of its time that people completely forgot it existed. A car designed to be Mazda's ultimate weapon during the Japanese bubble era. A statement to the world that they could build something that didn't just compete with the best, but embarrassed them. And I'd honestly bet money that most people watching this have no idea the Mazda Eunos Cosmo was ever even a thing.
Put up like, can I park right here? Fresh from the pit. It just sounds nice with the new V6, and my kicks is clean. And I beat when I drive by. The party did
The JC Cosmo from 1990 might be one of the greatest Grand Tourers ever built. Mazda threw every piece of 90s technology imaginable into this thing, making other cars of the era feel like they belonged in a different century. It was the first production car with GPS navigation, controlled through a CRT touchscreen that also managed the stereo, CD player, phone, climate control, and even an NTSC television. It was the second ever road car with sequential turbochargers, beaten only by the Porsche 959. The interior was crazy too. This thing was covered in leather, featured hand-finished Italian wood trim, and was assembled with the kind of attention you'd expect from a luxury brand charging twice the price. Under the hood sat the largest rotary engine ever put into a production car, Mazda's legendary 20B 3-rotor, officially rated at 300 horsepower. Although, let's be real, everyone knows that number was a fat f***ing lie. Real-world estimates put it closer to 320 to 330 horsepower. This was the car you bought if you were a Japanese executive who wanted something more exciting than a Toyota Century. It wasn't just a luxury car, it was Mazda proving they could build the future. No one even knew what the 90s were going to be, and Mazda just so happened to predict it all in 1989. This is the 90s car. Phil Collins' Madonna and Billy Idol were still lounging around at the top of the charts, and Nirvana was just starting out. In short, the Eunos made everything prehistoric by comparison. In almost every regard, it was years ahead of its competition. If you want to have the style of the Japanese salaryman drunk on the sidewalk, you need the Eunos. Nanami would have driven this, so you will too. Let's tone it back, but still bring in the bangers. Volvo 240 and 270. I have a soft spot for these Swedish Brits. I love Volvos. They're weird, they're practical, and they're some of the most fun cars to throw around. The 1987 to 1993 Volvo 240 and 1987 to 1990 Volvo 740 are basically made out of bedrock. These things are built so ridiculously tough that a crash with a fleet of GMT 800s would probably just leave a Volvo owner annoyed about the paint. But don't mistake durability for boring, they can absolutely get down. The rear-wheel drive 240 and the 740's available RWD/AWD setups were powered by the legendary B230F and B230FT engines, which are some of the most underrated motors ever made. The turbocharged B230FT made around 165 to 175 horsepower, but 300 horsepower is easily achievable with most simple upgrades. The naturally aspirated B230F may only make 115 to 135 horsepower, but throw on some mods and it's a missile. Volvo reused parts like they were trying to save money on a family reunion. Tons of components swap between models, making repairs and builds ridiculously easy. You can pick one up cheap, throw a few thousand into it, and have a ton of fun. Now for one that's only niche if you're not a car person, the Nissan 240SX, but specifically a clean, restored OEM plus build. I'm talking subtle upgrades, nothing overdone. The kind of car that gives you that perfect coastal Japanese weekend vibe, just sitting still. Everyone likes the 240SX, and there's a reason for that. It's one of the best chassis Nissan ever made. But, of course, it's 2026, so the drift tax is in full effect. Finding a clean one that hasn't been completely butchered is basically a side quest at this point, and prices reflect that. In some areas, this is easily one of the hardest cars on this list to actually get your hands on in the right condition. Still, when you do find a good one, it's magic. You get that classic timeless Nissan design, a lightweight RWD platform, and just enough power to have fun without killing the balance. It's not insanely fast, but that's not the point. You feel everything, and it's got just enough recognition to turn heads without feeling played out. It sits in this perfect middle ground. The Phaeton. This one is purely on the list for laughs. This car is so absurd I can't even sugarcoat it. It's essentially a Passat in fancy clothes. They look almost identical, but underneath the boring VW badge is one of the most over-engineered luxury cars ever made. The Phaeton has rear seat massagers, 4-zone climate control, double pane glass, dual batteries for all the electronics and engine, an 18-foot-long chassis, and a ridiculous W12 engine basically made by combining two V6s because a V8 would be too little. And that's exactly why it's so cool. I would never recommend buying one, but the fact Volkswagen built this insane engineering flex just because they could is what makes the Phaeton crazy. the 360 Modena, and 2000s Italian sports cars. Now a man can dream. This is one of those entries that's supposed to be exactly that, a dream car. I'm talking about the $70,000 to $110,000 range, where these cars are still somewhat obtainable, but owning one is still completely ridiculous. We're talking Ferrari F355s, 360 Modenas, F430s, and Lamborghini Gallardos. These are basically pipe dreams. But if you can get your hands on one, you have a car that's insanely cool, fun to drive, and still turns heads everywhere. This also applies to some British cars like the Aston Martin, DB7, and Bentley Arnage, but the Italian cars really dominate this era. I've seen people make insane builds out of these, like slammed 360 Modenas and DB7s inspired by Japanese stance culture. Mid-engine V8 Ferraris are taking over the old exotic space, and I'm all for it. These cars just scream early 2000s supercar energy. Every year there's more aftermarket support, making them the perfect canvas for someone who wants an exotic that actually stands out. Oh yeah, what do I drive? An old Ferrari. And lastly, the manual Cadillac CT5-V Blackwing. Doug DeGoat put it best when he called this the swan song of the V8 rear-wheel drive manual high-performance sedan. This is really the only modern car on this list, and purely because I'm confident it will become a future classic. Nobody thought the CTS-V wagon would become a collector car, but it did, because it was rare, special, and completely different from everything else. The Blackwing carries that same energy. A luxury sedan with a supercharged V8 rear-wheel drive and a manual transmission is something that feels impossible today. Cadillac's rebrand is going down as one of the best because they stopped trying to copy everyone else and started making cars for enthusiasts again. This is why Cadillac has been one of the most dominant teams in endurance racing. While other teams are fooling around with small turbocharged engines, Cadillac brings in their big American V8s that don't break. This is a brand built on American engineering, and the Blackwing represents everything that made Cadillac cool: power, comfort, and a little bit of insanity. While everyone else is downsizing engines, Cadillac decided to put a giant V8 in a sedan and let it rip. That's why this car matters.
Challenge. This is one of the reasons, let's say, we are here on Earth, is to find out such things. What we are, what we learn to be, discover our own being,